Sons of Sunday, aka SOS, just put out their debut album. And what do I think about it? Well, we'll get to it, but a little bit about who they are. So Sons of Sunday is kind of like a Christian supergroup is maybe what I would call it, consisting of a lot of famous CCM writers and one megachurch pastor. We've got Steven Furtick on vocals. We've got Pat Barrett on vocals, as well as Leeland and as well as Chandler Moore. And then we've got, the bad boy of CCM himself, Brandon Lake, on vocals and guitar. And so when you put all of these people in a room together making one album, how does it turn out? Well, if I'm going off of the marketing material and all of the marketing push that there has been for this album, I would assume that you're going to end up with this grunge, rock, swampy thing going on, because everything kind of seems like it's geared towards like biker culture and like men's group studies. But underneath that, we found another vanilla CCM album. I kind of went in expecting it to at least be different, and really all it was, again, was just a regular CCM album, but with a little more swamp in it. The album opens with the song God Did, which is one of their lead singles as well, and it's just okay. It's certainly a song that I've heard now, and it's, once again, kind of taking this trope that we see a lot in megachurch music. Here's an Old Testament thing that happened. I'm going to pull it over here, and I'm going to put it in this song and talk about it again. For example, it's kind of like, who pulled you out of the fire? God did. God did. Who parted the water? God did. God did. And it's just kind of boring. But apparently it took 8 writers to write that song, because every song on this album has about 8 writers. You just would think that with 8 people writing that have been in the industry a really long time, that they could put out some songs that were memorable, but that's just not the case. This album felt like every other CCM album I've ever heard, and every song already felt like I had heard it 5 times before somehow. The only song that I found interesting was Runnin with Angels, and it was led by Leeland for the most part, and maybe that's why I liked it. I like Leeland, I like his music, but the song just kept dragging out, and it didn't build, it didn't go anywhere. It didn't feel like production grew and grew and grew as it went. And so it just kind of fizzles out. And by the end of it, I just felt like I kind of listened to a song that went nowhere. And again, with 8 writers per song, you would think that there would be more to it. But see, that's kind of the problem right now in big CCM, is that there's so much money and there's so much marketing that can be thrown at things that it kind of drowns out the other stuff. And so what you're left with is a big old nothing album that has a lot of people listening to it, and they don't know that there's things significantly better out there for them to listen to. But there's so much marketing and so much connection with the labels that it's pretty much guaranteed to be a hit. Production on the album is interesting. It's not bad at all. In fact, some of it was kind of fascinating how it sounded like in a room. But there was things that kind of bugged me about it. Sometimes it felt like the mix, I couldn't hear things. And then other times I felt like I could hear a lot of auto-tune on Furtick's voice, which is okay. He's just not as experienced of a singer as other people. So honestly, with this album, the main feeling I left with is it had nothing to say. But even with nothing to say, I'm sure it will be massively successful because of who is associated with it and the massive amounts of money that are being poured into the marketing with it. However, I give it a 1.5 out of 5. And any of the good reviews that I found, they kind of feel like they're from people who think Toby Mac is like better than Eminem at rapping. So I never want reviews to feel harsh, but I do feel like CCM gets cut a lot of breaks because people are like, oh, you can't say anything mean about that because it's ultimately for God. And sometimes I think that's true, and other times I think it's for money. All right, I'm out.